Good evening. I do know that as viewers of this video, there has been a lot of things going on around the world, particularly with the most recent Dorian, which affected the islands, the Bahamas. All of you are aware about the destruction that occurred down in the Bahamas, and so many lives were lost. Some were swept into the oceans, and even this time, as I record this video, many bodies and many lives have not been recovered. In the recovery process, where they're trying to find many persons in the area. So I come this evening with one objective in mind. Recently, I did get a chance to look at one of the videos from South Africa where Africans kill each other, and particularly the South Africans killing Kenyans, Nigerians, and other foreigners who visit that country. A few years ago, we all know that South Africa, not a few years ago, actually, during the time of Mandela, and so many of my viewers, you do know that there was an apartheid regime where thousands and thousands of lives were killed, and discrimination was rampant. A black person was a thing at that time, and Mandela was in jail for 27 years. And many black professionals around the world, or persons of African descent around the world, we were behind our brothers in South Africa, and we fought that idea of apartheid, and that came to an end. We used to blame the poor Boers because they were whites, of course, and we used to have problems about them and saying they were putting our people kind of under slavery, killing them, not recognizing them as people. They were looking and viewing them as things, but not as human beings. Now, this is 2019, and we are getting these videos from South Africa where Africans are being killed by Africans. And many have said, it is discrimination, xenophobia and all that, fear of foreigners and all that. We need to stop that. Those are lies. It sounds to me like one of the presenters in Facebook, when I came across it, and called it is crime against. It's just a black crime, period. So the issue of that you are an African person or a South African, that you are chasing away or getting rid of foreigners in your country, but you end up just affecting only your own brothers, like your brothers from Kenya, your sisters from Kenya, and other parts of Africa. I think it is wrong. That need to stop right away. I don't see why you should call yourself an African, and yet you end up killing your own brother who looks exactly like you. But that is just the start of this video. But I want to address one thing in the American politics. Yes, there has been issues about the American politics, where we have now it started with over 20 candidates, Democratic candidates, vying for presidents in this country. But I want to mention a few things, and I'm hoping that those who are contesting in different political positions, I want to be very clear on this video. It doesn't matter whether you're a Republican, a Democrat, or an independent. It boils down to the way you relate yourself to your fellow human being. Um, a human being is a human being, period. Whether you are from the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, or an independent, or whichever party you have decided to come up with. Many of the politicians around the world, sometimes they look at the United States, they look at the political platforms in this country, and sometimes they wonder whether this is a place which respects the freedom of humanity or the freedom of all persons, human beings. It doesn't matter, irrespective of color, race, creed, religion, and whatever it may be. It boils down to the way you look at a human being and be a man of integrity, where you value all human life, whether it is black, white, Hispanics, Asian, it doesn't matter. You value that life, you know that life is important, not only in the eyes of God, even you as a human being, you know that you will not have peace if you create animosity or if you create enmity with your fellow human beings. You will not have peace. You may deceive yourself that you will have peace, but you will not have that peace which you are looking for. So I am basically sending this message across the global platforms so that we could start having an internal dialogue, you and me and all those who value human life. But if you are an animal, you can stay away from this platform and be yourself. But I do know that we all count as persons who were created, who went through a woman, from a woman's womb. When you came out of that womb of your mom, the first thing you did was to cry. That cry was, people took care of that. But if that cry meant for you to come and cause problems to this world, I suggest and I hope at that time when you were born should have maybe disappeared from this planet Earth. And that's serious. Personally, I bring that up because working in the hospital, I've done that close to 30 years. And anytime a person is dying or is about to die, there is what we call cardiopulmonary resuscitation. In simple terms, it is referred as CPR. So what we do and what I have done in those many years is to start that CPR irrespective of race, color, creed, religion, it doesn't matter. We try our best to bring those lives back. Sometimes we are successful, sometimes we fail. So I wish that all politicians could look at life in that manner, ready to save lives, make lives better for every person you come into contact with, or the person you come across. Leaving children in cages is not a way of providing that safety or that decency in humanity. There is no integrity when you rejoice when those kids are in cages, whether you are a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or whatever. It is not humane, it's not human to see people who are swept by either the tsunami or swept by Dorian, or who were affected during the earthquake in Haiti, or even those in Puerto Rico, for example, to see them suffering and you rejoice and you make it a political. You want to have some points, score points politically. I think it is evil, it's inhumane, and we should stop, I think, in my opinion. If you are a vice president, if you are a vice presidential candidate, I think it is time for you to start doing just that. Create an atmosphere for other people to thrive. Do not try to destroy people, because one day whether you like it or not. You could be a billionaire, it doesn't matter, trillionaire, whatever it may be, but you are not here on this planet Earth forever. You will one day go down to the ground, you will be buried. You will be buried. It doesn't matter whether you will be in those beautiful coffins, beautiful, ceremonies during your burial. You will be just as useless as any other person. Those bones will be rotten in those graves. And if it is true, if you are a man of faith, at that end of time, you will give answers to what exactly you have done to your fellow human being. So I am soliciting basically those men or women of goodwill to start thinking, have some thoughts about your fellow human being, the way you want your fellow human beings to live, how you want your children to start thinking about other people, and how to make a society, a civilized society, not the uncivilized society, not where we behave as primates or primitive, the word, the terminology which I don't like using, but when we behave in that primitive manner, it is not health. It basically destroys all of us as a people. So friends, I am soliciting around all people who will be watching this video across the globe to start thinking about how to treat human beings with fairness and give them a chance to grow, whether it is in economics, whether it is in health, whether it is in anything, any sphere of life. Just help them to grow. This idea of living in your own world, thinking that you are a master of everything, stop thinking along those lines, because that will not take you anywhere, but it will destroy you as a human being. You may go to sleep thinking that you have scored a lot of political points, but it will continue to eat you from the inside. Your spiritual life, your soul will continue to rot within yourself, and you will be shining in good attire and moving around, the people clapping and saying how great you are, but they will just be rejoicing for your upcoming destruction. So let's try to think about that. Countries in Africa, since I've talked a little bit about the political situation in America, now I'm going to change a little bit and talk about the African leaders. It doesn't matter which country where you come from in Africa, but I want to specifically say a few of these things, just to share with you the way I look at life in general. We have a lot of resources in Africa, and many people know that. We have uranium, we have diamond, we have gold. We have all resources which many people, they are actually jealous for us having all those. And even during the colonial rule, those resources were exploited extensively, but we still are very rich in resources. But one of the things which we have failed to manage our own resources, we continue to destroy ourselves. I look at recently I looked at one disturbing video from the Ugandan parliament, how leaders were fighting each other, throwing chairs at each other, and causing damage, and they were acting as savages. And I think that for a person who is well informed, that one was wrong. We can disagree. Even those of you who are watching this video, you cannot disagree with all my opinion. This is my opinion. I'm not an expert of international affairs, but I am trying to lay just common sense values, where if you are an African, you are given a position, your goal is to help your society grow, your community to grow, to try to change the way your people live, because the purpose of life is not just for you to enjoy those resources by yourself, or trying to exploit those who do not have. The purpose in life is to make sure that you help your fellow human being to do better. If you have that position, be a man of integrity. Don't steal from your own folks. Those resources, even if you are given 1 billion Kenya shillings, like one of the politicians I saw in Kenya addressing the community, and because of poverty, people were clapping hands and just laughing, and just it was despicable when you see a leader saying, "I will steal from you 1 billion Kenya shillings," when the majority of people go to bed hungry. They don't have food. And you are so proud of yourself to say that you will take 1 billion, that once a goat is being skinned, it has to benefit from some of that meat. Well, let's stop that small thinking. Let's stop that small thinking. Think big. Let's try to get out of that, disgruntled kind of behavior, and respect ourselves. You want to be remembered as a person who made a difference, not a person who stole billions and billions of shillings. While you looked at your fellow constituency members, and most of them were just going to bed hungry and struggling even to go to school. Come on now. I know you, especially the person who addressed this. I have talked with you in the past. And if you watch this video, you happen to watch this video, probably you remember me. I'll not hide. I am Dr. Arori, and I'll continue to talk against any forms of discrimination and forms of, ways of not doing the right thing. I'll talk about that. Not worried about what you think about me, but I'll talk against all those kinds of behavior that are governed by animalistic instincts. We need to stop that. So the African leaders, once you are appointed, be a man of integrity, my brother or my sister. Do the right thing. Change the continent, the continent of Africa. It is 2019. My God. For many years, we have blamed the colonial masters that we were under slavery, we suffered, they didn't give us a chance. Now that we have that chance, let's make use of it. Let us not give a person like the current president of the United States, saying that we are from the shithole countries. That's an insult. But if we don't operate otherwise, I think his words make a lot of sense. They make a lot of sense if we do not change. But if we change, then we can prove him wrong, that we are able leaders, we are able to develop our countries, we are able to develop our airports, we are able to develop our roads, we are able to develop our academic institutions, we are able to develop all spheres of our lives. We can do that. We can do that. Let us not go by what the skin. We look at each other and think we are not able to do it. We deny. We don't give our own people contracts. We go to China, bring these guys, and yet we have institutions in Africa, higher institutions of learning, who have trained engineers, medical doctors, pilots, but we end up siphoning all the little coin we have, or our resources. We send them to the outside world. Come on now. We can do better. Nigeria, for example, has had oil for a long time. Now Kenya, from northern part of Kenya, there is oil. I'm hoping that our leaders will sit down and have a very meaningful dialogue so that we can change the course of our history, so we can make those countries start thriving. Kigali, Rwanda, for example, I know Kagame is trying his best, but I think we can even do much better than that. People have issues like a governor in Nairobi, whom I've watched struggle with in the streets fighting. His name is Songo. I mean, I know it was not maybe the way he got the money was in using illegal means, but he's making use of it. So let's try to do the right thing, my friends. We can do it. We can do it. We can change the healthcare sector. We can change the transportation sector. We can change the airlines, the airline industry. Let's make them work for all our people. We have enough resources to get the young boys from the streets, give them jobs, make them go to technical schools where they can be equipped by an education that is meaningful, not just to take them to institutions of higher learning and offer them useless degrees which do not help them at all. Those kids who are running in the streets, running businesses of transportation, hauling from left to right, and others now with Uber as it has spread all over the world, we can help these young boys become productive members of society. We can do it. We can do it, my friend. So think about what I have said in this video, and for the upcoming discussions, I will be posting this as towards the end of this year. Still, we'll be talking. If you want to reach me, you can reach me at any time. You can just send me an email or just find me and text me. I'm not afraid to answer some of your questions and give my own observations, what I think about what's going on in Africa. My friends, let's all of us be active participants in changing the political landscape, economic landscape of Africa, of USA as well. Let's make it a better outcome next time. And when during the presidential election, those of you who are American citizens, make use of your vote. Vote candidates who will take care of the poor, who will change the lives of many, who will execute political issues in a fair manner. Do not just send somebody to Washington who will destroy your life, who will keep children in cages and still think that it's important, who will go around with ISIS, picking up folks who have been in this country for a long time, for centuries, for many years, and leaving kids stranded without fathers, without mothers. I mean, it's despicable. We need to change that, and we can do it. We can do it, my friends. So let's all come together and make this world we live in a better place for you, and me. Do not forget this. And next time, look for my videos again. I will be posting them, hopefully, in maybe not long from now. But have peace, enjoy, but make a difference in this world. Just like we try to save lives in hospitals, let's save our lives in the community we live in. God bless you, and God bless all the countries where you come from, and particularly since I'm recording this from the United States, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Enjoy, and talk to you next time. Thanks.